Positive energy and good vibrations from me to you. You have now tuned in to the Imperfect Fathers podcast.
Yo, what it do? Positive energy, good vibrations from me to you. It's your boy, RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman. And yeah, this is another dope episode of the Imperfect Fathers podcast. Good people out there, I pray that everything is well. I pray that you guys had a phenomenal week since the last time we checked in with you guys. Please do me a favor, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. I stressed the subscribe and like part. It helps the digital currency around here. It don't cost you nothing. Just hit that little subscribe button. Do us a favor. Subscribe, let the algorithm know that you appreciate the Imperfect Fathers podcast, so we can, we can swim around the algorithm a little bit more, get a little bit more love from YouTube and whatnot. So we appreciate your support and continue to do that for us. Now, you guys know around this podcast, we got to follow a certain protocol, and that is talking to the Father upstairs and paying the bills. So with that being said, gracious and eternal Father, God, we thank you. Grateful for what we have going on. Right now, God, we ask you right now, look over us as we go across these airways, that we may say something to help someone, inspire someone to be a better father, a better man, a better leader, but not just himself, God, but for his family, his loved ones, and people around him, and community. God, this is our prayers. This is why we come across this platform, and we ask you to do it because we know only you can. And we ask you these things in the matched name of the Most High. Amen.
Amen.
All right. So, good people. Around this podcast, them phenomenal producers that we have and those sponsors that we have are over at It's Now or Never Entertainment. Check this out. For all your music needs, whether it be hip hop, gospel, R&B, you name it, some guys over at It's Now or Never Entertainment has a phenomenal catalog of music. And also, if you have a project in your head and you want to bring it to life, he is a phenomenal producer that will actually take your whistles from your head and turn it into a phenomenal project. I'm not saying something I've read. I've witnessed it over and over again. So listen, for all your music needs, go over and holler at them over at It's Now or Never Entertainment. And if you let them know that we sent you at checkout, use the word Imperfect, you get 50% off on any beat in the beat store. That's 50, half off on any beat in the beat store. So shop smart, shop black, shop It's Now or Never Entertainment. Let them know that we sent you from the Imperfect Fathers podcast. Boom. Now, good people, I know y'all wondering, like, yo, what's going on? Where's the rest of the homies at? Like, yeah. The Imperfect Fathers out being Imperfect Fathers as we speak. And the show must go on. So right now, I want to introduce to some and bring forward to others my good friend, my mentor, my big bro, my brother Eric Harris. And do me a favor, fellas out there and ladies, get used to seeing this man with his gray hair because he's going to be around for a little minute. So, Eric, welcome to the platform, King.
Hey, man. What's up? What is up? Rod, thank you so much for the honor and the opportunity to come on the Imperfect Fathers podcast. I've been watching from afar, and I've been getting closer and closer and closer until you finally let me on the platform. Yeah, I'm here. We made it, baby. We made it.
Mama, we made it.
We made it. But no, real talk. This has been a podcast that has blessed me, has checked me, has made me cry, has made me go back and apologize to people, and also just sharpen my sword, man, to help me just be a better father, which in turn has made me be a better person. So, man, I am honored. And hey, let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Yo, man, listen, I appreciate you, bro, from a distance and now up close and personal. I love and appreciate you, bro. This episode, y'all, we're gonna get into. It's gonna be a little spicy one. I'm gonna play a video, right?
I like spicy.
Yeah. It's a little caliente. This video was brought to me by my wife, and I'm saying this, specifically for a reason. My wife, a woman, right, brought me this video, and she told me to watch it. So without further ado, I'm not going to go any further. I just want to play this video for you all, and then we'll dive right in to discuss further. So let's get to it. Share screen. Boom.
And day my baby daddy come here with one meal for my child, but I have 3 other kids. We have one kid together, and he only want to come and bring one thing to McDonald's. But what about my other kids? How come you can't feed my other kids McDonald's though? Like that's bogus as hell. Like you're not gonna sit here and make my other kids feel left out, and you're only bringing one child something to eat. Look, there you go. And I bet you he only got one thing in there. I bet you he only. I'm finna expose him so people can see how he really is. It ain't more than enough food in that bag for everybody. What's up? Because I'm finna expose you. What? Because that don't look enough for all my kids. That don't look enough for all my kids. What is that? That's just one burger? One burger, one fry? Okay, what about my other kids? What about your other kids? Okay, but them your kids' siblings though. Them my kids, them your kids' siblings though. So my other kids should be left out. You didn't feed them? You know I would give my food stamps to the siblings. Listen, that's not my problem. Then if you're trying to help out though, you're not helping out. I'm not trying to help. I'm trying to help my son. How are you helping yourself when you're only getting food for just coming at the other kids, his siblings? Them are his siblings though. He's not going to eat it from all his other siblings if they're not eating at McDonald's. No. Why do I gotta put? No. He's not going to eat that at all if you can't bring enough for everybody. Yes. You sound dumb. How is that dumb? You sound dumb. You sound dumb. Where's our big daddies at? Nobody told you to talk to mother. You have them other kids. They're your responsibility. They're not my responsibility. Okay, but if you're gonna bring one, you need to bring it for all. How do that look that I'm letting one child eat McDonald's when all the rest of the kids can't eat no fucking McDonald's? You know I get food stamps on the 11th. 3 kids that ain't mine. Yeah, dad had siblings. You knew what you was getting into when you had a baby with me. Yes, you did. Okay, but you still had a baby with me who had kids with other people. I still have other kids. Because I'm exposing everybody think you such a motherfucking good daddy. No, you're not. You're foolish in this. You only come here with one piece of food for one child. The child that's mine, silly. No, that's dumb that you can't feed the other kids. Don't feed nobody at all then. He can't take that. He can't eat it. Maybe if you had one or two, I could maybe. You got it's 3 extra kids. You all like go to number count, spend money on all those kids. They're not my kids. Them are your kids' siblings, though. So that's what you're gonna go with? That's the one you're gonna go with? Those are your kids' siblings. Yeah. So don't. No, I didn't say you have to take care of them. You can bring them something to eat if you bring one something to eat. I'm bringing food every other day. What do you mean? Exactly, but you don't never bring food for the other one. You know I get my food stamps on the 11th. Okay, but I'm saying we share the same kid as well. Absolutely. So you want to you feel like a good way about me? Take them in the room. I'm not taking my kid in the room. Down to the car. He ain't even got a kid. He put it. Come right out to the car with me. No. You know what? Fine. Give it here. Thank you. Give it here. Give it here. Give it here. Done. He ain't eating this. You. Because you ain't bringing up for all the other kids. You stupid. Stepping in a like you're dumb as hell. He's not gonna eat that. Dumb. He's not gonna do it. You can't do it for all. Don't do it for none of.
Okay.
Wow.
So, what I like to do on this platform is to always take situations and speak from our vantage point and speak from our life experiences and let that really hit home to us as much as possible. But I got to put this out there. This kind of behavior is hard for me to accept or deal with or even sometimes sympathize or empathize with, because I would never recreate with an individual like this. But what I'm going to do right now is just for the shits and giggles of it all. We're gonna sit here and discuss it from the position of the young man. So now, E, my question for you is, but before I go on my tangent and just unleash this hell that I have on my chest towards this, I want to ask you, bro, because you're the calm before the storm in this relationship. What is your outlook on this, bro? What is your standpoint on this after witnessing that?
Um, man, I have to take my first of all, I have to take myself from a place of being speechless to actually having words to say about that. Like literally, that took my breath from me.
Yeah.
It really did because on so many levels, so many people were hurt,
Mm-hmm. A lot of pain involved in that. A lot of pain.
and a lot of trauma came from that.
Yes.
If I come from the standpoint of the young man that was coming to take care of his child, number one, I think that the bringing of the food to just his child was premeditated. I think it was something that he had thought of way beforehand. I think that this was a discussion that's happened many, many times over and over again by this young lady. She's probably throwing out hints and all kinds of things to say, we ain't got no food, we struggling, this and that. And during that conversation, I heard the man talk about his bank account and how his money is. So she's basically asking him to take care of an entire family that he doesn't have a connection with. The only one that he has a connection with is his child.
Correct.
So the one that he feels obligated to is his child. It's his child, nobody else. And she's coming to him like, well, you need to take care of this whole household because all these kids are watching him and they feel bad because he's eating. And the man even offered to say, well, hey, if that's the case, give me my son
Mm-hmm.
and let me take care of mine. He's being responsible to do what he can do. And she wouldn't even let it happen. And the other thing that I see here too is that there's more than just the children involved, right?
Come on.
That's
E.
her and him. That's some stuff between those two. And
Yeah.
she is holding and harboring her feelings, her angst, her anger, her vitriol for that brother. She's using that and leveraging that with her child, man.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what hurts me the most. You're using an innocent child to try to hurt a man because y'all couldn't get along.
Mm-hmm.
And he's only trying to do right by his son. And you can only listen, get this, you can only imagine what's going to happen in the future with that young man. So now that he's done that, he's gone, he's driven off. This child heard all of that. The kids are in the house, they heard all of that.
And if they didn't, it's on social
They
media.
heard all of that. And now it's everywhere. So all their friends, everybody know.
Right.
Depending on how old the child is, I don't even know. But what I'm saying is, that's in his psyche forever.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't gonna never forget that. So now he's got all these things swirling around in his mind. His mama saying, your daddy ain't nothing, this and that, da, da, da. He could take that on, or he could say, mama, why you do that to me? Now you got a kid that's conflicted. And now we wonder why kids go out there and do all these things that they do.
Mm.
And we want to say the younger generation is effed up. Yeah, okay, they effed up all right. We doing stuff like that. So it's so much, bro. I talked about so much in what I just said. And it's hard for me to pinpoint one thing. But from that brother standpoint, I agree with him. I think he was 100% right. You know what I mean? To take care of his child. And he was 100% right to let her know where she's at. Because she did not have to lay down with all them other dudes either.
Facts.
And that's why I'm at with it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you, bro. You know, I always tell you that, but it's like your perspective is always a calming one, and it always brings a new light to something, right? because in my aggravation when I heard this, I didn't think about the children, to be honest. And the reason I didn't think about the children, to be honest, because every single time, Eric, that I open my mouth about a man that's doing right, every time that I open my mouth or defend a man that's doing something right, there's always that one person or a group of people that wants to say, well, there are men that there are men that don't do that. Well, there are men that do this and they're wrong. They're men are wrong. But I'm so glad in a circumstance like this, I have this time, the grace and the space to point out and salute a man. And there is no debating the salute. Why? Because first of all, let's talk about this. Let's talk about all the men, right? Because y'all love doing this. Y'all love to be contradicting to people when they say things. So let's do it. Let's go down that path. So there are so many men, and I can name a few, but I'll be nice not to do it across my platform. But only because I want to be nice. Because I really could care less about the smoke, and y'all all know that. Especially when it comes down to fatherhood and manhood. So I'm gonna keep y'all names close and quiet right now, just because I want to. Warning. But I'm gonna salute the man right now because there are so many low lives I can't even call men that don't want to come even show up for theirs, for the nut that they dropped inside of a woman. They don't want to come and show up for that. We got men that are literally walking around, seeding up women and not even going to show up as their birth. But this king right here, and let's dissect the video. This is not his only time bringing food to this young man.
Exactly.
Her own words before he pulled up is, he does this every day.
Out of her own mouth. Out of her own mouth.
You mean to tell me that this man has the audacity, the unmitigated gall to show up for his child on a day-to-day basis? And he's still wrong? He's still wrong. Showing up every day. Oh, no, excuse me. Every other day from your exact words. Verbatim. Go back and play the tape. Every other day he shows up with a burger, just some food for his son to eat.
And look, let me just interject real quick. Did you see the flow? He's coming to the door to drop the food off. So
he doesn't even want to come upstairs.
But what I'm saying is he's not seeing him.
Right.
He's not giving the food to him himself. He's not exchanging the thing he bought for his son with his son.
Because he even begged to have him downstairs so he could eat it with him. If this is such a problem. A solution-based man. It's so crazy because there are women that would die to have that man. I know a few because they're dealing with the nonsense of the ones that won't. So now let's keep addressing this. Now, everyone knows I get on men on this platform in real life. Eric is shaking his head because he can test, because I get on him too, because we have to all be held accountable. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm not going to hold this sister accountable, y'all. She's going to get this smoke. And any other woman with the mindset that she has, you deserve this smoke too. So, but before I get to you, queens, because yeah, y'all are still queens, even in y'all nonsense, I'm going to still go back to my young king over here. This man showed up, right? And he provided a provision in which was necessary for his child. Now, let's talk about nobility, right? A man with means that can provide those kind of things and has a noble spirit that hasn't been tainted and hurt would have no problem with providing for other children. Now, I'm not one to judge, but let's look at the picture for a second. That young man didn't pull up in the latest Maserati. He didn't pull up in the latest S5 Benz. He didn't. He pulled up in a either a late early 2000 model Camaro. He doesn't have a bunch of jewelry on. Now, this also doesn't mean that he doesn't have a bank stashed away somewhere, a bankroll, but we're just going by the eye test right now. This gentleman brought food, has been and brings food every other day by the admittance of the woman, right? Of her own mouth. And he does this every day. Now, Eric, let's talk about the price of everything right now. Gas right now is at its all-time high. There's never been a record time other than this current moment where the prices for petrol, gasoline that gets us back and forth is at the height that it is currently. So what that means is, if you don't know, and you're kind of like me, you're not really an economist. If the gas is this high, everything else is well. So let's go to McDonald's. The same meal that you used to spend $5 for, it is now $10. You cannot go to McDonald's and spend less than $8 and get a meal. Period. I don't care if you're buying a child's meal or adult meal. You're going to spend $8. Now, 8 times what? 4? Help me right quick, Eric. What's the math? You know I'm not a math magician. 8 times 4 is what?
32.
$32. Every other day, right? So if there's 7 days in a week, right? So every other, let's say 4 on a big end, right? There's 4 days that he's doing this. 4 days a week at $32. That's $126 a week on fast food that this young man would have to come out of his budget with to pay for food for children that he did not create. And also, not that he didn't create, he's not even in a committed relationship with the mother. How could this man possibly be responsible for 3 other human beings? Now, my frustration is with the entitlement, Eric. Because yes, the noble thing to do, and what I would do, because if I have it, they have it. And most other men too. But you got to hear the other part of that. The man that's not been hurt and tainted. Obviously, there's some kind of beef between this man and this woman. Obviously. And if you do the eye and ear check, Eric, you can almost see where it comes from.
Facts.
But this mindset and the entitlement is where you lose me. Eric, in the green room, we spoke about something earlier. A woman that asks for nothing will get everything. But a woman that asks for everything will get nothing. You're sitting here with this entitlement of, because you opened your legs and created one baby with me, now you're entitled for me to have to take care of the 3 other obligations that you own. Let me tell you something about real men and women. They handle their responsibilities and they don't put them on others. How do I know that? I'm gonna be even more transparent. My wife and I file taxes a certain way that others probably would be like, oh, that's not right. Why do y'all file separate taxes? Because my wife, as a mature woman who understands that her obligations before she met me has nothing to do with me. Her financial burdens that she picked up along the way, I don't have to pick up. Now, if I choose to, that's on me. But the obligation is still hers. Now, that's coming from a married couple. A couple that's went before God and people in front of us and made a commitment that we will take care of each other. We're not talking about that in the same case, in the same statement. Yo, Eric, this man isn't guilty at all. On no level, not even on a nobility level. Because like we said, we don't know his financial situation. And even if we did, let's say he has the money every week, 126 for kids that don't belong to you. What is it, a charity?
Exactly. Exactly. And the thing about it is this. She can't. It's even the way she came at him, man. It wasn't even
She's gonna
in a
expose him.
conversational, right? It wasn't conversational. It was more so like, I'm gonna expose you. So now you're in this social media frenzy where you're thinking, and see, man, sometimes I wax deep. I'm gonna expose him. So now you're trying to go viral with some BS.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what the flow was to me. Like, I'm gonna expose him. I'm gonna show
Yeah.
everybody, and I'm gonna do this. Yeah, you went viral, all right, but you know what? You went viral in such a way where you
You
put yourself
expose
out there in a
yourself,
very, very, very negative light
bro.
as a woman.
You know, Granny said, right? Granny said that every time you point your fingers, right?
Four more pointing back at you.
You see these other ones pointing right
Mhm.
back at, and it's pointing back at you with more force than what you're pointing out.
Exactly, bro. Bro, do me a favor. Why don't you share with me what your wife had to say about it? A woman's point of view.
So yes, so coming from a woman, and like y'all should see her chemical makeup now as after I broke down the whole tax situation. So this should be no surprise that she felt as if though this woman was completely wrong. Completely. And like I said, this is a woman saying this. I was brought this video by a woman that was upset with the content in it.
So wait a minute, your wife brought the video to you. You didn't even see it yourself.
No, I didn't see it. She literally gave it to me in my inbox Instagram. I didn't even know what was going on. Like you know, right now I haven't had my ears really to the streets of the social media in the last few weeks, so I wasn't really abreast of what's going on. But this aggravated her enough for her to bring it to me. So I'm just baffled, and what I'm also baffled too, Eric, is about how we allow the small percentage to always outring the masses. So we always talk about, like I said earlier, for the people who are always contradicting everything that anyone says on a positive note, if you go to the comments of this very video, there are more women that are saying she's absolutely wrong than there are women that are saying that she's right. That just goes to tell me and gives me hope in society, dear God.
Yes,
It
sir.
gives me hope
Yeah.
because we're not all in this fake reality. We're not all living this nonsense about this fake social media world of where we consistently replace ourselves and put somebody in the blame chair when we should be the ones. Yo, first of all, young lady, and every other woman out here in her shoes, and any other woman who's talking about men ain't shit, that is your decision making. That ain't shit. These men are gonna be who they are. These men had showed you who they was before you laid down with them. While they was smiling at you in the club, their cologne was smelling all good. They was rubbing you up, telling you the good stuff that you wanted to hear. Yeah, all that was cool then. Then you busted wide open. He dropped that baby in your gut. Here we are. And then you do it more than once, right? You go back and do this more than once with more than one individual. And then you talk about men ain't shit.
You
Queen.
know what? Some of that might be the frustration, man, of her having been through this situation multiple times too.
But Eric, I don't
Because
doubt
she
that.
feels trapped. Because she feels trapped. So now he comes and then on a small scale provides a release for one of the kids. Not a release for all the other kids, and definitely not one for her.
Mm-hmm.
So she looks at the one kid and is like, wow. Instead of being grateful and happy that someone took the time to take care of his son the way he's supposed to, he gets ridiculed because everyone else isn't being set free or given something like that one child was.
But yo, Eric, you know what
And
too, bro?
but wait a minute. And
Mhm.
then look at this. If the situation was approached any differently, let's just talk about this for a minute. This hypothetical. What if she said, "Hey, I'm not getting my stamps until the 7th. I really need some help."
Mm.
Can you help me until the 7th? Instead of buying this McDonald's, which is $8
Can we go to the
4 times
supermarket
a
and get
week, can
$8?
we go to the store with that $32
Right.
and let's get some food that will help us all until the 7th? Now, you as a man, even though you got problems with her, if she would have came to you like that, in a very rational sense, where it made sense, what would you have done?
We'd be at the supermarket. Say less.
But that whole vitriol of I'm going to expose him,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put him out here. Then she snatches the food and throws it. Like,
So now you disregard what he did do, the provision he did make. But yo, E, and this is the one thing I guess I got to get off my chest is like we got to be held accountable at all points, yo. It's like when you touch a stove that's hot, you get burnt for a reason, right? That's a displeasant feeling, so you won't do it again. When we make mistakes, y'all, we still have to pay for those mistakes. And I say that to say this, men and women, when you out here creating lives with others and you realize you're doing it wrong, don't go back to the same fountain. Don't go back to the same
facts,
behavior.
facts.
Because you said earlier she felt trapped. Yes, she felt trapped in her bad decision making.
Exactly. The consequences from a bad decision was
Right.
weighing on her heavily. And instead of looking at herself and looking inward, she was projecting all of it outward on him.
And let me
Look,
tell you,
look. Also, that usually happens with the person that's trying to do right.
mm,
In any relationship, the person that's trying to do right and still there, because people that ain't trying to do right, gone. All the
right.
other fathers, gone, gone.
Yeah,
This
when
is
he
the
asked
one
about it,
father.
she said, where the rest of the fathers at? It got real quiet, didn't it? She
Yeah,
didn't have no answer for that.
yeah. But the one that's there that's trying to do right
Hmm.
caught all the hell that she had inside of her for all them other dudes. And
That's
she
not fair.
unleashed all that on him.
Not fair at all, E. And it's like, because think about this. If the situation was reversed, right? Let's take it. Let's talk about that. You know what I mean? So if the situation was reversed, he had the kids. She pulls up. He's entitled. I need you to feed my kids. See, it's hard when we do that, right? It's hard to imagine a man in that position. It's also hard to imagine a woman in other position because we sit here and we do this all the time as if though this is not real, but this is very real. I'm sitting here and my heart breaks, Eric, because you showed me new perspectives from this, from the children's perspective and all of those things. But I'm still holding my ground when I say, if you make a bad decision, don't compound it by doing it again and again and again. And if you, my ladies, my queens, my sisters, the women that I love, that I appreciate, that I nurture, that I enjoy, that I thoroughly would do anything for, if you, my sister, made a mistake with the men you've chosen, that's your fault. It's your fault. Yeah. You might have been suckered. You might have been boozed by a slick talking nigga that looked good as me. Maybe. But shame on you if you got more than if you got you twice. Because
Yeah,
Eric, if I could walk up to you right now and slap you on your right cheek, I take two steps back, and then come and do it again. Are you gonna stand there for the next one?
nah. It's. I think it all goes down to our mindsets, right?
Yeah,
Because our actions are governed by our mindsets. Period.
facts.
And I think there's a lot of factors that we don't know here,
Of
but I
course.
could I could only imagine the friends that she's around,
Mm,
the people that she grew up with, her household situation, all those things have a factor in all of this. Not only the children, right? But just the treatment of that father, and who knows how the other ones are treated as well. We don't know. Not trying to get those guys a pass. They should be there just like this guy is and take the heat just like he's taking it. But it's like, man, if that is coming, at everybody, and that's what she's projecting out. We also know that whatever you put out, that's what comes back. And I
Facts.
think she's getting a lot of that negative energy, man. And even though we get pissed a little at her, as I talk about this and as this rattles around in my spirit, man, I feel for her because that anger, usually anger is spurned from fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's spurned from pain. You don't just get angry and just want to be angry.
Right.
No, there's some pain that happened. There's some fear that's going on. There's that fight or flight type of mentality. And usually what comes from fight or flight, usually even when you're fighting, there's like when you're running, it's like, hey, you ain't half running, you going at it.
Right. You giving all
And
you
you
got.
know when you fight, you going at it too. And that's what that was. And she chose to take it all out on that dude, but it's a culmination of everything. If you ain't got the food stamps to the seventh, that means you ain't got no bread to the seventh. So now
Mm-hmm.
this is a crib with no bread.
All them kids in it.
And then also on top of that, let's just be real. Usually when there's no bread, when there's no food, there's a past due notice somewhere.
Facts.
There's threats of cutting things off. There's threats of not having even less than.
Right.
Even when you do get the money, it's not enough. You got more bills than money. So
Facts.
again, all of that vitriol came out on the man that's trying to do right by his. So the situation is just like, man, it just takes your mind and turn it upside down. Like, my God, man.
And I, like you said,
You
Eric,
know?
I truly do. You know my situation. You know, I feel that this queen needs some help. Like I feel like
Yeah, but that's
she's
not the way you get it though. That's the
no,
thing. Yeah.
and the entitlement. And this is what I want. This to want to resonate with everyone out there. Your entitlement will cancel your blessing.
Don't run past that. Don't run past that. Say that again.
Your
Slowly.
entitlement. The way you feel that something has to happen for you or someone must do something for you
Someone owes you something.
will cancel, will delete, completely remove your blessing. Because a blessing is just that. It's gracefully given and it's supposed to be gracefully received. But the moment that you feel entitled, oh, he's supposed to, she's supposed to, you just canceled your blessing. And I'm gonna tell people like this, and anybody in my circle knows this. The moment that you feel any entitlement about me will be the last moment you see of me, unless you watch this podcast.
Ooh wee. Hmm.
So don't think for 1 second you're entitled to me or about me, because the truth is that belongs to no one other than God.
So let's break that down for a minute. So entitlement. Entitlement is akin to control
Mm-hmm.
because you think that someone should be doing something for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because of whatever reason. That's your son, that's your daughter, that's your wife, that's your husband, that's your friend, that's your colleague, that's your whatever. That you were expecting certain things to be done for you. Now, when you have that expectation, that means that that person has to have a action or reaction in some type of way. Some people exert so much pressure that they cause guilt,
Mm.
they cause thought processes that hurt people and make them almost be forced to do things that they were never really meant to do.
Mm.
Earlier in the green room, we talked about the Superman cape. She was trying to make that man put on a Superman cape. For those of you who are Christians and you believe in Jesus Christ, you say Jesus Christ is the Savior. She was trying to turn him into Jesus Christ and make him the Savior of the situation. Put him in a trick bag that he might not have even been able to do. As a matter of fact, a trick bag that he wasn't even was supposed to even do.
Hmm.
And entitlement can lead to manipulation.
Hmm.
And if you do some research, manipulation can be even likened to like witchcraft and trying to make people and manipulate and make people do things that you're supposed to do. So now you're telling me that your entitlement is going to force somebody to do something that they're not even supposed to do?
And sometimes don't have the capacity to do.
Right. So now you're going to put him in a trick bag, put him in a situation where he doesn't have enough. Do you see how insidious this thing is?
And yo, so Eric, I'm glad you went there because
insidious.
I'm glad you went there, Eric, because let's talk about what this is doing to this man, right? This man potentially got in his car feeling like less of a man. Think about that.
The food that he brought for his son, bro.
They had to step over.
She threw it back at him.
He had to step over the food to get to his car, Eric. He had to step over the provision.
Imagine the pain he felt.
And no one wants to talk about this.
See the drink spilled all over the thing. To see the burger just out, gone.
The money he spent that he worked to get. The provision.
And my son is not going to get the sustenance that I put myself out here to provide. You say, oh, that wasn't nothing. He just went through a drive-through and got it from McDonald's. No, that's everything. Because his intention was everything there. He didn't come over there to argue with her.
Nope.
He didn't come over there to rub it in her face. He came to take care of his son.
That's it. You can tell by his approach, everything.
The thing that he brought to take care of his son was thrown back at him, was disregarded because of entitlement. Entitlement is we use it usually with our young people. Oh, they're entitled. They think they should have all this, but entitlement, everybody has it. I even have it sometimes, and I have to check myself. Like,
my son is not going to do it right now with his entitlement.
Yeah.
Hi, Poppy. He's entitled right now to know that he doesn't follow by the rules because he's my son.
Dude, it happens in everything. What's up, young prince?
Say what's up. But now let's talk about
what I'm saying. So we're breaking this thing all the way down, man.
And hey, you know we are, because this is what we do. Like, and I want y'all to I want you guys to understand that this conversation we're having right now would be over the phone if this wasn't on the podcast, because this is how me and Eric speak on a regular basis.
Every day.
And
every day.
I want also to break the entitlement down. You know what she's entitled to? She's entitled to keeping her legs closed and making better decisions.
Okay.
I'm here for the smoke, Eric. I'm here for the smoke. I know it's coming. And I care less. Because I'm going to tell the truth and shame the devil, like my grandmother used to tell me. I'm going to tell the truth. The same way he's entitled to keep his pants closed before he wants to be with this woman for the rest of her life. He's not off the hook.
Right, because takes two.
It takes two to tango, right? Yeah, I know it's coming. It takes two. There's an egg and there's a seed. And when those two come together, it produces a life. So they're both at fault. Number one, he's at fault for dropping the seed of he wasn't going to be around and be a husband and a father to. He's wrong for that. You're wrong for opening your legs to a man that you knew you wasn't going to be with the rest of your life either. And the other three was wrong as well. And I have no problem with saying this. You know why? Because I wasn't supposed to be here. I'm a baby that was born out of wedlock on the low. Not supposed to be a creep baby, a cheap baby, a bastard baby. That's me. So I feel the right and the privilege to be able to talk this way about the situation because I'm from it. I am it. I am that little boy that's upstairs sitting right there wondering if that's his food coming upstairs or not. I'm him.
So that's what I was about to say. I think the other reason why that went viral is because it hit something that was inside of everybody that watched it.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just entertainment, because you know how some videos are just for entertainment. Ha ha he.
Right.
Nah. That hit a lot of people here. It hit me. Same situation, same thing, same type of like anger towards that man, towards the father. to the point whereas that anger welled up so much inside of my mom till it spilled over and fell on me.
Mm.
That pot of boiling water boiled over and the water spilled over in the pot and got on me and burned me too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I kind of had that perspective when I saw that, and it went straight to the kid because I felt that.
And think
And
about this
then
too.
some of that, let's get this, and I pray to God that this didn't happen. Whereas now that happened, now that kid gets it because of her exchange with that father.
Mm.
He gets it more now. Let's
And,
pray that that didn't happen.
and you know what's so crazy? And like this is why I love talking to people around me. My wife says to me, she brought a different perspective to me. She says, imagine that child bringing the food upstairs, right? Like she did bring that food upstairs, and he's probably the youngest of the rest of the children,
So they snatching it.
being bullied. And
He
even if he
probably got
does
a
get a chance
crumb.
to, he got to eat it fast.
Dude,
He
he
probably
got
got
to
to
eat
throw
it
it
on the
down.
stairs. He got to eat it on the stairs. He got to
And
stay at the
then
door and step it down his throat.
if mom's not watching, he's not gonna be able to eat that in peace. He's gonna have to fight for it.
More trauma.
Mm-hmm. And then we
More
wonder
trauma.
why our boys are the way they are when they come into the world.
Yes, sir. Or why we do what we do, why we act the way we act.
Right.
Listen. Why we act the way we act in relationships. Look at the example he just had.
Of the first woman in his life.
The woman he loves more than anybody in the world.
Mm. And will love any more than any woman in the world. Yo, my heart goes out to this child, the rest of the children in the room too, as well. Like let's not pretend like those other lives are not at stake as well. Those other children, the other 3 children. Because at the end of the day, like I tell you all the time, Eric, my son and my daughter didn't ask me to come here. The same way those children then ring the phone and say, hey, could you do me a favor and bust it wide open and get me here? No, they didn't. So if you create one, it's your responsibility and due diligence to take care of them. Now, if you can't provide for children, for whatever reason, stop having them. Stop.
Point blank.
Period. You're doing more hurt than you can ever do help. You're bringing more lives into this world just to struggle.
Look,
For what?
and now we're entering the whole thing of generational curses. That's how that's prolonged by doing that right there.
Yeah, Eric, and then you got the situations leaving from this situation, right? You got the parties going out into the world with this negative toxicity on them. So now this young man who now has a probably skewed vision of women based upon his experience in life is going to go somewhere where there's going to be a beautiful woman, a delicate soul that simply wants to love on him, simply wants to show him the better sides of life. And he's going to give her the hell that he thinks it's what's supposed to be given due to his previous experience.
Well, that's what's normal to him. That's his semblance of normal. Like people say, oh, well, that's not normal. Well,
To you.
normal is a nuance. Normal
Right.
is a nuance. Normal is our perspective
Mm-hmm.
of what it is. And you can't walk into a situation and I say, well, you tell me something, I say, well, Rod, that's not normal.
Mm.
Now, I can say that's not normal for that situation, or that's not normal for that person that you was talking to act like that. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
something's going on. But for me to take the word normal and then make it a huge blanket or whose umbrella that's over everything, that's wrong. But guess what? In his mind,
Mm-hmm.
in his way of thinking, that could be normal. And again, now we're going to future things where that trauma will affect his life, where he'll
Mm-hmm.
act a certain way out, where he'll treat women a certain way, where he'll have a level of maybe even disrespect. And, you know, what I call a crop failure on every word that I just spoke. And I
Mhm.
really pray that that young man will be exemplary,
Absolutely.
and that the
He-
right people will come into his life to teach him and to show him that that is not right, that is not the way to go, and that he is loved. Because that's another thing, man. When you take that food and throw it like that, you basically saying it's almost like a love thing too, if you really think about it, man.
Mhm. Bro,
You
like
just
she
took
wouldn't,
something that would help me and threw it to the ground.
and
That's that love.
she wouldn't have done it if there wasn't a ounce of I wish. See, we act as if though like we don't want the things that we buck up against, especially when it comes to relationships or failed relationships. Because the truth of the matter is, let's just say this gentleman would have pulled up and said, "Sweetheart, come in," embraced her. You know, I'm here for you and them kids. Her energy would have been different because that's what she truly wants. See, the pain that Eric speaks about is the pain that she has a void in her heart.
Exactly. And also, so now, uh, we talked about one E, which is entitlement, but now we're going into another E, which is expectation.
Mm.
Her expectations of that man wasn't met. Maybe a promise was made before they had the baby. Then the baby was conceived, and maybe a promise was made then, and maybe this is that, da 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 da. So now everything is everything. Y'all ain't together, and you still leaning on, hanging on those expectations, which led to the entitlement. And then the last one, man, shoot, you might as well say it now. It's an entanglement. It's crazy, dude. It's all over. Everything's all mixed up and mangled up, and all that. You know,
Word up.
the kids are the way they are. She's the way she is. He's all messed up now. It's as that man drove off, man. My heart went out to all parties. You could say, man, she was wrong, effort, nah, but that came from somewhere. And
Absolutely. And this is the
do we
repercussion.
hold them accountable for all their actions, like you said? Absolutely.
Hmm.
But also, I can't help but to have my heart go out to them, because I don't know. I know you probably going to say yes to this, but haven't you seen that situation play out to you firsthand and right in your face
Every time I
many
see her,
different times?
every time I get on the phone, every time I'm on coaching sessions, I hear these things, man. Like this is why people like. I really want y'all to hear me, and when I say this, anytime I come across this platform, I'm speaking from a place where I'm dealing with men at a core level. I'm speaking to men who are dealing with these things on a day-to-day basis. And I'm not coming at this from a one-sided perspective, because if you check my content from back then, I will bust a man ass for not being right.
Facts.
So I got to hold my women accountable as well. And I'm not here to beat on y'all by no means. But I'm also not going to be here to allow y'all to step on a man that's doing what he's supposed to do. This young kid came about out of his business, his day-to-day activities, right? Whatever he has going on. From the video, it looks like it could be middle of the day, towards the evening time. Majority of time, people of our age and that age range has jobs. He could have been at work. He could have been hustling. Who knows, right? But there's something other to his life other than doing what he just did. So he had to stop what he was doing to go and see about his child. Commendable, respectable, salutable, because that's what you're supposed to be doing. So we got to understand, y'all, if a person is doing what they're supposed to do, everything else is cherries on top. And you got to take that with grace, because that is your blessing. Someone comes out of their way to do something for you, that's a blessing. It's not expected. It shouldn't be expected. And what we have to also do is look more at ourselves, E. This young man has to look at himself for the decisions he made in the past, because his decisions he made in the past is why he's in the circumstance he's in right now.
Oh, he don't get a pass. He
None.
don't get a pass because you talked about the circumstance, but let's go with the other C, consequence. There's always a
Cool.
consequence.
Yeah. And you
And I
got to
don't care
deal with it.
what you believe religiously. I don't care about none of that. You could pray. You could say this. I made this mistake. But everybody has to go through the consequence of the action that they did.
It's
It's
a law.
just that simple. It
It's a
is a
law.
law. That is a principle.
Hmm.
You cannot do something and then not, feel the effects of it.
Right.
Or to break it down into what everyone talks about, you're always going to reap what you sow
Yes, indeed. And even
to
even
some
even
degree.
on a more simpler cause and effect.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a
Karma,
cause,
whatever the hell you want to call it,
right?
it's real.
Whatever your ideology is about it, trust that it's the same all the way around. For every effect, there's a cause, and for every cause, there's an effect. Each and every one of them. See, we get so confused when we say laws. Like there's a speeding law, right? But that's not really a law. That's a rule. Rules can be broken. Laws can't be broken. I don't care who you are or what you are, because if you do break a law, you will pay the consequence. Number one, gravity. You try to break that law if you want to, fool, and you will pay the consequence, if not ultimately dying, because gravity has no losses. It's a law that cannot be broken, and the law of sowing and reaping cannot be broken.
I agree. Wow. Man, this has been, man, though. Woo.
Yeah, I told you we
It's
gonna go there
heavy.
this one. I told you we
Heavy.
gonna go there for this one,
It's
but we
heavy.
we coming down to the end, bro. So as always, being this podcast is always driven about solution based. What could you give, Eric? Solution based, and I want you to speak to the queen because your heart went out to her. I want you to give her something solution based that she can move forward, and to any other woman in her predicament that would be able to help them move forward and get to where they're really trying to go in life.
Um, I don't know everything about the situation, so I'm really going off of what I saw in that video. So a lot of what I'm saying is probably hypothetical, but the first thing that I would really say to the queen is, and this is so cliche because so many people are saying it now, but that woman really has to know how to love herself first.
Mm,
A lot of those sayings, a lot of the stuff that's happened, the manifestation of the children, the manifestation of how she treated that man, a lot of the words she said, it's a lot of things that she's doing to try to pacify some things that's going on in her life, man, that she hasn't dealt with.
mm,
Maybe some past stuff that happened, or, because you can't keep getting into those types of relationships with four different baby daddies or two different, three different. I don't know the whole how it's made up, but really think about that. You don't do that unless there's something going on inside of you. And my message to her would be is to you got to retreat, you got to slow down, and you got to take a long look at yourself. And that one thing that we all hate to look in, which is the mirror.
mm, mm,
There are days that I don't want to even look in the mirror, bro, because I see stuff that I just don't want to see, and it hurts me deeply.
mm,
But I know it's something that I got to do. I have to do it, and I would ask her to do the same. Um, I'm not going to deal with her actions because I think her actions came from the mindset. Her actions
mm.
came from what's going on inside here.
Right.
Um, Someone very smart told me to not always look at a person's actions,
Mm,
but to go a level or two deeper to see what spurring those actions on, what made them do that.
correct.
Don't get don't get caught up in the leaves on the tree. If you want to deal with that tree, you got to deal with the root of the tree. Don't deal with the bark. Don't deal with what I'm saying, the trunk of the tree. You got to get to the roots.
Mm,
And the only way that you get to the roots is you got to dig some stuff up.
gotta dig.
You got to go through the dirt
Mm,
and dig it up. And while you're going through the dirt, you're going to hit some stuff that's pretty nasty.
mm-hmm.
Bugs, maybe a dog did their thing around that tree. All kinds of stuff you're going to go through until you get to the roots. And then you got to deal with it. So it sounds like she's got a lot of stuff that she's got to dig up so she can get to the root of why she's acting like that, why she's being with these different men, why is she having this vitriol towards that man that's trying to take care of his son.
Mm.
why she feels like she has to share it on social media for the world to see. You got to
That's a
dig
whole
deep to
podcast
get to the
episode right there.
real. Right, you got to get to the real. So I would ask her, like I do all my coaching clients, man. It's three major things that I always ask them to do is to retreat, then rediscover what's going on with you and the situation, see what really caused it, and then to reconnect with kind of the solution that you found out, the way that you need to deal with things, and then to reconnect with that person that you hurt
Mm.
or the people that you hurt so that you can make it right. But the first thing, man, she's got to back away from all else and look at what's going on in her life, man. That's my thing for her. And I would also venture to say that the young man probably needs to do it too, because that was traumatic for him.
Right.
If someone threw some food at you that you brought for your kids, that's traumatic. He's got to deal with that, because if he don't deal with that, that's gonna spill over onto someone else as well.
Yo, and I want to take this moment to say too, yo, he's a bigger man than I am, because as she threw that food, God only knows, and I'm not a violent person towards women. Y'all know my style, but that would have been something that would throw me over the edge. I might have said some choice words. I, I might have
You would
left.
have demanded your son too. I know you. You'd be like, I need my son up out of there right now.
Yeah, or either I'm just going to take him like this, like this. And this is why I'm grateful to God that I'm never in these situations, because it's never going to end good for any party that comes between me and my child. And this is why before, and just hear me good, this is a very strong point. Before I said I do, before I dropped that nut in her guts, I chose to learn her and what she would or what she wouldn't do, the kind of person she is, her chemical makeup. I took the time to learn her. People say, "Yo, RJ, you've been with your wife 15 years, and you only been married for 7 or 8. Why did it take you so long to marry her?" So I wouldn't have to deal with this kind of shit. So my message to you, young king, is this. I salute you for doing what you did, but I don't commend you for the actions you did before you thought about what you was getting yourself into. You have to be an example to other young men that before I lay down with a woman, I'm going to check her, find out who she is as a person. Because truthfully, if he would have known that this would have happened before he laid down with her, I can almost guarantee he wouldn't have laid down with her. And most of the time, situations like this, neither party would have signed on to it. So this is a lesson to every other young man out there. This what could happen to you if you don't take the time to vet the person you decide to create a life with. If you don't take the precaution that you see fit necessary. Hear me good. You see fit. Not one that I gave you, not a process that Eric told you about, not somebody that somebody's preaching across a pulpit, not something you heard on YouTube,
Come on.
not something that someone told you because they had a negative experience, not your mama, not your daddy, the process that you see fit, deemed necessary for you to live with.
Exactly.
No one knows you better than you, and no one knows what you want for your future more than you. So guard that, protect that.
Exactly. Rod, one of the things that we always talk about, we've heard this many times. You know, this isn't new to social media, but people say that we're not human doings, but we're human beings, right?
Thanks.
But we never go that step further to say, but who are you really?
Mm.
Because see, a lot of times we go to all these other people who tell us who we are, and then we start doing based on what someone else told us.
Right.
What you just said and what I just said is, no, you need to go in here.
Mm-hmm.
And that could be a deep, dark place sometimes. Again, it's
Oh, yeah.
dirty, it's nasty. Some stuff you're gonna have to dig up that you really was trying to bury.
Mm-hmm. Consciously and unconsciously.
Right. So guess what? Once you do that, once you deal with that, once you dig in that, dig it up, get past that, then you know who you are.
Word.
Then you can operate as that human being. But if you play games and don't deal with those things, baby number 5 could be coming real soon.
Baby daddy number 4. Whew. Yo, listen, y'all. I pray. I hope that something you said resonated. I pray that this couple of individuals and those children have better days mentally, physically, and spiritually. My prayer is that someone heard something in this podcast is going to change something in your life. I hope I stepped on a toe or two. I hope I crunched a pedicure or two. I hope so. Because after the pain subsides of someone stepping on your toes, there's opportunity for growth. And I pray that you take the opportunity for growth and not the latter of just sitting around waddling in your pain, guilt, frustration because of nonsense. We have to move forward, y'all. And the only way we can move forward is if we bring each and every one of us along with us. I didn't do this podcast to sit here and point a finger. I did this podcast so I can bring y'all along. We got to come together and do things the right way for not just ourselves, but everyone involved. There's no one right or wrong in a situation. It's about doing what's best for us as a whole, as a community. And that overall picture is us learning how to love ourselves so we can love on each other and we can build strong, lasting relationships and families that can stand the test of time and generations to come. That's the purpose. That's the magnificent picture of life that I'm trying to paint. And I hope you see that I said what I said out of love. Eric said what he said out of love. But we all must be held accountable. The same way I gotta be held accountable by this gray-headed man over here that calls me, that chews me out when I'm wrong. I gotta be held accountable because that's the only way I can get better. I can't get better by myself. There is nothing on earth that if you leave to it itself that can get better. So we all need each other to get better. So with that being said, fathers, wait, but before I close, queens, I love you. To the ones that the shoe fits, take the shoe off. Look at the shoe, examine it. Go get a new one. The shoe didn't fit. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. And for everybody else in between, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. But
So,
I appreciate you, ladies, and like I said before, I just want us to all be better. So, as we get up out of here, fellas, you know, to the world, you're just a dad. That's all you are. Don't expect the world to give you no more than that. But to your family and to your children, you are the world. Don't let that go over your head. It's the most powerful statement I can leave you with. You are the world to your family. Embrace that. Walk in it. Strive in it. And be who you need to be for your children and your family. Because that's what's expected to you, of you, by the Creator. Now, until the next time we see y'all, be good to yourself and the ones around you. And if you can't be good to the ones around you, that's okay. Don't trip. Just get those people from around you. Yo, man, this has been RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman, and my man Eric Harris from Express Your Perspective. And this has been another dope episode of the Imperfect Fathers podcast. Y'all be blessed because we will. Peace, y'all.